links. Okay, fine. I know you're okay. So I'm sharing my screen. Once you're able to see my screen, just say yes in chat box so that we can start immediately. Is it visible? Okay.
Yes, visible.
Okay, thank you. So as you have seen a topic directing. So today we are seeing another function or last function and controlling for safety. Okay. First topic, it is talks about the recruitment activity, etc. So staffing. So staffing is nothing but it includes the personal function of recruitment and training the staff and maintaining safe and favorable conditions work through the person. It is nothing but kind of HR activity. So here it is not such an important topic. It is also this basic function. Now we'll see controlling. So any idea what we do in part of controlling? So what does it mean exactly? What is meant by controlling? Any guess? Mm-hmm.
Giving guidelines or procedures.
I thought I've disconnected the meeting. Okay. Giving procedures or guidelines or directions. Fine. Okay. Any other thoughts?
Sir,
Identify the hazards and taking necessary actions.
Okay. Fine. Let's see what exactly
the
is.
risk.
So here I have, yeah, please.
Reducing the risk.
Reducing the risk. Okay. That is one sort of controlling the hazards. Okay. Great. So if you see basically control in the sense, basically it is a process of evaluation or process of inspection or scrutinizing the things which we have or verification process. Especially if you see in the management point of view, a management control is a process by which managers assure that the resources are obtained and used effectively and efficiently in the accomplishment of an organization's objective. That is how they do called as a control. Saying that they receive sufficient resources and they ensure that those resources are used effectively and efficiently to achieve the organization's object. And with respect to safety in the controlling, it can be defined as process that verifies and guides activities towards the predetermined, which means planned safety goals, and takes necessary action if required to achieve those goals. So here we look for, also we verify or we do such a kind of activities which we planned, which means the safety goals. Definitely we'll have in the starting of the financial year or calendar year, we'll definitely make the safety goals. Like maybe we can say 50% reduction or 75% reduction or making zero reportable accidents. So we work towards that goal by verifying or performing such certain kind of activities. Now we'll see where this controlling is aimed at. where it is aims. So basically it aims on monitoring the outcomes of the activities. So with respect to safety, what we aim for? So we aim for, based on the near miss reportings or incidents reported or accidents which has happened, then reviewing the feedback about the outcome. So here with respect to safety, we'll see whatever the corrective or preventive actions which we have implemented, whether those are effective or not. We'll take the feedback. If necessary, take any other corrective actions to achieve and outcome according to the plan. So what is the outcome? It should not repeat whatever the hazard or the cause which we have identified for that accident. It's been eliminated or it's been removed permanently to avoid the reoccurrence of the similar incidents. That's where the controlling is aimed at. Again, how it is? What are the various characteristics of this controlling? So basically, it is a system. Yes, how it is a system? So we look for something, and in case of any deviation happens, we try to do analysis, then we'll implement the actions. If it is not functioning well, again we go for another reviewing the action. Again we'll implement the thing. Then we'll try to minimize the hazard. It is a kind of a system, and also it is a continuous process. It is not one-time activity. The controlling should be there always, and it is a forward-looking. So basically, how do we do control? So why we do all these induction training and regular safety trainings, job safety trainings, mock drills, fight drills, and job-specific training programs, and firefighting training, first aid training. So it is all these trainings are forward-looking. In the sense, we predict that, okay, there may be a chance of future, there is maybe an accident happens, or in case of any fire accident happens, there should be somebody to extinguish that fire. So we look for a forward looking. It influences the process. Influence means what? It is in a positive side. It will influence. How it will influence? Somebody sees, means monitoring. They are asking. So automatically they get influence and they won't try to attempt for mistake or any shortcut. Involving a measurement. So it controls always takes the measurement. It talks about only on the numbers. It won't talk on the qualitative side. It also talks qualitative side, but morely, it definitely have a measurement. Maybe in part of qualitative, I can say low, medium, high. We do in the risk matrix. In the quantitative side, we used to give the numbering 3x3 matrix or 5x5 matrix, which we say 16, 25. Those are the higher side with respect to the risk matrix in the quantitative side. And why we need this control? Is it really required? Controls in place? Is there any necessity of control?
Yes, required.
Okay. So why it is required? Basically, to measure the progress. For example, in the year 2022, there are 10 reportable accidents. So against that, the company or the management has allotted resources of 10 lakhs rupees as a safety budget to implement whatever the controls, or not whatever the controls, the necessary controls to prevent the same kind of incidents. Then the safety team has implemented all the necessary controls and they have utilized the 10 lakhs budget. Then the following year, definitely the management look for the progress or the investment they have done on those incidents. That's where the controlling is very much required on the progress of the things or the activities. And the main other purpose is to uncover the deviations or change, delegation, mistakes, complexity. So uncover means it will make it open, it make it transparent, whatever the deviations which are happened or any changes happens, any delegations happens, any mistakes happens, in case of any complexity it is there, it will uncover, in the sense to keep it transparent and visible. And to indicate corrective action, it is also another requirement. The control will always trying to give right suggestions or corrective actions. Now, importance. So we have seen the need. So need is basically for to measure the progress, to uncover the deviations and changes, etc., and also to give the corrective actions for the deviations or non-compliance. I can say NCs. So if you see the importance of it, so basically it offers a guide to operations. So it will give a guidance for the operations with respect to safety. How it will give the guidance? So the control will give. So what kind of hazards will be there in the company? So what are the various kinds of hazardous materials we are using? What is the existing controls on it? So how we are handling those hazardous materials, and what are the consequences in case of people exposed to those hazardous materials, and in case of accidental release, what are the controls we have? So how you are going to contain the spills, and how you are going to evacuate the people from that area. So it will give the various kinds of operations. So maybe in the sense activities. And also it offers a policy verification. In the sense, the policy will give a high level commitment from the top management. So by elaborating it, we'll have all the procedures, work instructions, permit systems, practices, instructions, rules and regulations. All these things, it will try to verify in a higher level. Then managerial accountability. So here it makes that all the managers are accountable for the safety of the people who are working underneath. Then it will increases the employees' morale. So with the proper control, what will happen? So everything will go in a good manner. So no deviations are happening, resulting no accidents, nobody is injury, no property loss. We are doing on-time delivery. Company is getting very good profits. So automatically, people will get very good increments and promotions. They'll be happy. Then psychological pressure, it will gives or it will decrease the psychological pressure, and also it will coordination in action. And also with the proper control, what will happen? We can get very good coordination among the people to take up the initiations and actions. Now we'll see where and all this control can be implemented, or where and all we can take up this control function. So one is at the personal level, and the performance of production with safety, not about only concentrating on production. Production first, safety last. Always we used to see this in the month end, especially in the month end and the starting of the month, or maybe in the year end. Production first, safety last. But always safety should be first, because in case of any one accident can completely change the history of the company, or it will make it zero, even though it's having 1,000 years of history. In one incident can make it zero. So always we should be cautious what we are doing. Then it can be implemented in the finance side. So finance side automatically, without any question, definitely the management will have a control and morale on people morale. How we can boost the people morale, how we can build the confidence on people, on the company, how we can make work more exciting, and how we can make the workplace so hygiene, and how we can make the workplace so clean without any harmful substances, and how we can make the workplace more interesting so that they can happily come, they can perform the job and leave the office happily, or the workplace. So these are the various areas we can implement the controls. So how we can implement? What are the various steps, or how we can implement this control process? So basically, we have to establish the standards, either qualitative or quantitative. What is mean by standard? Any guess what is mean by standard?
Maybe certain level of expectation or benchmarking.
Yeah. Any other guess? Yeah, Praveen.
Any prescribed format which makes the organization determine.
Okay. Okay.
Company names, sir.
Company name. No, Kusuma, I'm asking about what is mean by standard.
Okay.
So basically, the standards are the proven or the desired level of expectations. For example, if you go to any laboratory, maybe everybody would have uh, did your medical reports. I mean, maybe in various stages. So if you see in the any medical report, they will give the standard reference and the test results. The standard references are the safe or the references which are desired level or the safest levels. So those are the standards, means the benchmarking, whatever it is, the name. It may be in a qualitative and quantitative. So as I take an example of risk matrix, we used to do risk matrix of risk into severity into probability, a 3x3 matrix or 5x5 matrix. So there we have two types of indicating the risk. We say low, medium, high in a qualitative side. In the quantitative side, we may choose that from 16 to 25, which is high, or 16 to 8, which is medium risk, or 8 to 1, which is a low risk kind of thing. So this is the establishment of standard. The first process is you have to tell what is the safest practices or the safest behaviors. What is do's and don'ts? All these are comes under standards. Then once you have defined the standard, once you have defined the rules and regulations or instructions, then you have to measure the performance, whether the people are following or not. We used to put all do's and don'ts. We used to put safety signages. We used to put unauthorized areas. So we see whether the people are following or not. And we used to put mandatory PPE areas, or we used to put mandatory ear protection, or mandatory safety goggles, or mandatory safety shoes, or mandatory nose mask kind of thing. So those are the standards. So everybody should follow. We'll see the measure the performance, whether the people are following it or not. Then comparing performance with the standards. So where is the standard is and how people are following it. Then we'll analyze the deviations. So then we'll take the corrective actions. This is how process comes in. For example, there is a standard, a work permit for all the activities. The work permit has to be taken. That is a standard. So how will measure the performance? There are 10 contractors. Out of 10 contractors, only 7 contractors are taking the permits. Maybe somebody are not taking the general, somebody are not taking the hard work, somebody taking the general work permit and doing hard work, somebody taking hard work permit and doing height work, or somebody taking height and they are doing hard work. So these are the comparing the performance. But our standard is whatever the activity is happening, they have to take a dedicated work permit with respect to the activity. Then we'll analyze the deviations. So how these deviations are happening. Then we'll take the corrective action. What kind of corrective action? Initially, we'll try to understand whether all the contractors are aware about the work permit system or not. If they know how to fill the permit, and they are aware what kind of activities fall under general, what kind of activities fall under hard work, what kind of activities fall under height work, and what kind of activities fall under confined space. Then after that, then they know who will give the permit, to whom they have to get it signed, and where they will get these copies of permits. If that is also known, then we have to ask why they are deviating. Maybe they are intentionally doing, then we can give some 1-2 warnings, then we can cancel the contract, or we can penalize certain amount. So it is up to the company how they have the action systems or the deviation addressing. Okay, that is how the control process should be. Now, there are requirements of this control system also. We have seen the process, how it should be. First, the standard, an evaluation of measurement, find the deviations, we'll analyze the deviation, then take the corrective actions. And there are some certain requirements also. So one is simple and easily understandable. So whatever the safety instructions we are giving, those instructions are simple and easy to understandable. That's where we previously in the olden days, all the safety signs are with the names, or we are writing text kind of representation. Now the pictorial representation has came in. Even the procedures also, SOPs also, visual SOPs. Previously, we have 2 pages or 3 pages standard operating procedure to run a mission. Now they are making a pictorial representation, which is easy to understand. Then flexible and not rigid. So there should be some flexibility, not in safety. In other controls, there should be some flexible. Objective and need based. So whatever the control you have, for that specific control, it should have an objective. So why we do a work permit system? To avoid the accidents and also to monitor the activities, because the work permits, sometimes they do third party, they are not aware about our complete operations. Even the people who came for the activity, they can roam here and there. So to avoid all these sort of things, we have a permit, that is an objective. Then forward looking, and the control should be very quick. So it should not be delayed for after 2 months. Once the deviation happens, they will take action after 10 months or 6 months. Then strategic point control. So whatever the control heads will have a strategic idea, and the control should be motivating. So why we have these controls, the people should understand. They should not feel that यार इन लोग तो हर जगह पे control रख चुका है, हम काम कैसे चलेगा. Most of the contractors, they feel very bored with the work permits. They always feel that because of these permits, our targets are not meeting, our deadlines or the timelines of project timelines are getting delayed due to the work permit process. It should not be like that. We have to tell them the real purpose of this permit. And suggestive, economical. So whatever the controls you suggest, in case of any accident happen, you are suggesting any corrective action, it should be economically viable. It should not so expensive that 1 crore ka system lake dalo. No, it is not possible with all the companies or the management. So it should be viable, less time consuming. So whatever the control you're putting, it should be easily installed or less time. You can't keep it for years on years or months on months. Based on the severity of the accident, it should be as quick as possible. Okay, these are the few requirements of controlling system. Now we'll see a few techniques of this controls. One is break-even analysis and even PERT. I think this is PERT. I'm not able to recall. Anybody can help me on this? So PERT and CPM. Then budgetary control. This is also one thing where we see the financials. Then zero-based budgeting. So how after implementing any controls, so how they use investment can be payback, and management information system. So where we the management used to review the performance of the departments and controlling and monitoring by the safety standards. So can I ask what are the various safety standards we have monitoring safety? Various safety standards for monitoring and
By
controlling.
name, we don't have, I think. I'm not sure safety standards, like mentioning the code or numbers like that, we don't have. It is
ILO?
Yeah,
but
we
the
are following
standards or codes are
OSD
not mentioned anywhere.
for permit system, like we are following OSD
Standards in
standard.
the sense it is not specifically even BS standards we have for accident analysis. I think IS 3265. I'm sorry, I don't know exactly. I've taken the number. Even we have BS standards for the accident investigation and analysis. And even we have IS 14489, that is also one monitoring, that is also one safety standard for the occupational health and safety audits. And we have standards like is just like a kind of best practice. Even Factory Act, that is also one kind of standard, or even ISO 45001, that is also one kind of standard, where it gives the proper framework to follow for the effective monitoring and controlling of safety systems. Yeah, Prasad. So if you see controlling by standards, so these are various standards which are available widely. Basically, we can see the legal requirements will be there. These are the indirect way of controlling and improving safety standards for company, like even Factories Act and rules and Environmental Protection Act, etc. There are even boilers and petroleum rules and regulations, even hazardous waste management rules. These all are indirect way of controlling and improving the safety standards. In addition to that, as I mentioned, we have ISO IS 14489, which is occupational health and safety audit, and 45001.
Hello, sir.
So yeah.
Sir, any oil industries, for oil industries, any separate safety standards are there, sir? Why? Because OSID standard, separate standards we are following actually. So that we are not aware of this ISO standards and all.
Specifically oil, I'm not sure at this moment.
Yeah,
What is the standard you mentioned?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, we are following OSD standards, like OSD standard 105 for permit to work system, OSD 116 for fire protection system. So we are in line with
those
OSD standards.
Those are your internal standards, or these are international standards?
Sir, this is oil and natural gas standards. Indian government का ही है, sir.
Okay.
Oil industry and safety.
OSID.
OISD.
Okay. So what about the management system you are following for safety? You don't have any management systems like 40001, 45001 and all?
Actually, now we are having this integrated management system, sir. ISO, OSHAS, and one more standard is there. All these three are merged into
OSHA's
one system.
Previously, it is there. OSHA's 18001 that's been converted to ISO 45001. If you say integrated management, maybe you would have done integration with quality, which is 9001.
Yes.
And 14001, which is environmental management system, and this one 45001, which is occupational health and safety management system. If you're implementing all three together, we used to call it as AMS, integrated management system.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Next one. This is an other technique, which is management by exception. So we all would have, which means who are already having work experience, they would have seen such kind of practices. Management by exception. What does it mean is basically need not to report if the performance within the permissible limits. That is acceptable deviations from the standards. So maybe for safety, it is not going to be applicable. Maybe some kind low risk activities, or if you say general permit, if it is not there also, if somebody is coming and doing some cleaning activity, that kind of acceptable. It is up to the company how they have defined the permissible limits. Which means it is a system or principle, a managerial based control on belief that efforts of controlling everything results in controlling nothing. Therefore, there is no need to report performance within the permissible limits. If the deviations are under the permissible limits, okay, chalega, kuch karne ka zarurat nahi hai. But the only exception is the significant or the major deviations from the standards should be reported to the management. Within the limit, it is fine. Nobody is bothering. The over and above the standard limits, it has to be informed. So this is one kind of management by exception of practice. So if you see here, the few benefits from this system or the practice, it saves the time of manager as they have to focus on exceptional matters. Routine problems are left to the subordinates. So what they do here, the managers, they won't go and run for hinky-pinky problems. छोटे मोटे चीज के लिए इन लोग नहीं भागेगा. They focus on only on high priority activities. जो छोटे मोटे जो चीज होता है, जो प्रॉब्लम्स होगा, उसको इन लोग सबऑर्डिनेट्स को डेलीगेट करेगा. They will delegate to their subordinates. Concentrate on major problems, resulting in better utilization of their talent and energy. Instead of doing a small and the minor works where their subordinates are very good in those kind of things, they focus on major issues or performance issues or promotional issues or any long-term goal planning, etc., they will focus on. And it facilitates delegation of authority for less important matters, and this increases the span of control and also leads to motivation. So that they will also get motivated and they'll have a good relation between subordinate and the superior. Then it separates more and less important matters and tends managers to use knowledge of trends and history and available business data. So here we used to have a matrix which is important, not important, nothing to do, or we used to have a sorting of all our day-to-day activities. And it keeps management alert to the opportunities and threats by identifying the critical problems. And so what will happen? It gives the time. So whenever you are focusing on only the major issues, opportunity to identify the whatever the threats or the future goals or how you are going to plan your the next year or any budgetary meetings or what kind of new technologies which is coming, what are the new safe practices which are there in the market. So all these sort of things you can do. Okay, that is managed. And then other practice, which is management by objective. So what this practice do? So this practice does that. It is a performance required inside the company. It should aim towards the business goal or the ultimate goal of the company. So all the activity, whatever you do write a document, you prepare a document, you read a document, you are doing a training program, you are implementing a system, or you are planning for external training program, or you are putting a signage board. So everything, whatever the activity you are doing, it should be aimed towards the ultimate goal of the company. So basically, this approach is known as management by results, a good management, performance management, and accountability management. So basically, it's having two areas majorly: the goals for the business as whole or set. How this system works, whatever the goals for the business, it's been defined, and the managers and staff members are actively participated or actively involved by the top management for the goal setting. It does not mean that in the board level, the goals are defined and there is no contribution of the staff and the managers and the staff. But here they are involving the managers and staff also. So behind this concept is, so basically if you're involving your employees and staff for the goal setting, what they do, they will work hard to achieve those goals because they themselves have committed for that goal. So they have that desire in their mind to achieve the goal which is defined. Otherwise, what will happen? आज छोड़ो यार, हाई लेवल में बोर्ड लेवल पे तुम तो पता है 1000 टन करना है, 2000 टन करना है, अपन को मालूम है हम शॉप फ्लोर में काम करने वाले को बंदे को हम कितना कर सके. So always it is good to have the involvement of the staff and managers while defining the goals because they knows what exactly happens in the ground level. They can give the real picture or the situation to the top management. Okay, I'm stopping here. We have less than a minute. In the second session, we'll continue this, the characteristics of MBO. Meanwhile, any questions?